That's what she does. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Hockey Night in Australia. I'm your host, Sean O'Connor, and tonight I'm joined by the Oz Hockey Media crew, Claire Collins. Claire, how you going?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. Ready to talk about the weekend again. How about you?
Oh, yeah, I'm going pretty well. I must admit, I'm very tired. It's been a very long week with work, but can't wait for the hockey this weekend. And our other host, Courtney.
I've been
Kynaston, how
demoted
you
to
going?
guest.
No, I'm so used to the third person being the guest.
Yeah. No, look, I'm good. It's same here as far as the week. It's been long and I am so tired. So this will be an interesting one.
Hey, look, can you guys believe this is the last week of
Nuts.
regular season?
Crazy. What I do love is how closely we're watching so many things. We're watching who's up the top because we're three-way tie. We're watching who's down the bottom with ice and ice dogs. Like, it's kind of cool to be like on the edge of our seat being like, what's going to happen, as opposed to, all right, let's just see what they're going to look like for finals. It's, all of these games matter. And even the games where teams are already out, are they going to create upsets? Like, what are they going to bring to the table? So, I'm a bit.
How much do you reckon there's going to be anyone who's going to rest players this weekend? Because I don't think there's going to be anyone resting.
I don't think they can afford to be honest. I think, like, especially between North Stars, Brave, and Mustangs, they're going to put their full squad out because they're going to want every point they can get. Particularly North Stars and Brave are going to want to get all 6 points out of their weekend. Mustangs will want their 3 to keep them up in contention. And then you drop down and look at Ice and Ice Dogs. It's just there's too much on the line to risk not having key players.
People are either fighting for that top spot or fighting to clinch. Like no one's resting.
Hell, I even had a look. There's even the opportunity for Brisbane to overtake the Rhinos this weekend. So you've literally got 9 of the 10 teams competing for positions this weekend, which is crazy in the final week.
It's exciting though. It's exciting.
I can't actually remember the last time. I don't think I've ever seen a 3-way tie at the top of the table. Even when we went 2 conferences for a while, I don't remember anyone up the top having the same number of points. So, it's just there's just so much on the line. Like, I love that the Mustangs are up there. I think that's great. They won the Cup a few years ago, then it felt like they just declined, and then they've just had this huge bounce back year. And I'm such a fan of Dave Ferrari. He's, he'll always be part of Newcastle. So for me, I'm excited that he's had a great season. He can stop now.
I think he's probably proven a lot of people wrong as well. Like, not many people would have had the Mustangs down to be in contention for, obviously the premiership for the best team for the regular season, or the championship for the grand final winners. But they're a legitimate chance now.
Yeah, absolutely they are. So, I think third might be where they will end up, because Brave and North Stars have an extra game on the Sunday. I think that's the way around.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, they're playing on Sunday, but yeah.
Yeah, so they only have one game this weekend. So I think they're disadvantaged by that. But to still finish top 3 is going to be unbelievable.
I do like it. We got a couple of comments on here. G says, I don't want it to end. I think anyone who's a hockey fan wouldn't want this to end. It's very close. But alas, the season must come to a close at some point.
It does show, though, about, Mustangs were they had a bit earlier in the season where they would win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game. And then they got into their streak. Brave had a slow run at the start, kind of got into their streak. So it really does show, like, those first games, it's crucial to get those early points, 100%. But if you do have a slow start, it's okay.
Yeah, that's right. Unbelievable. Anyway, so crazy. And I think I don't think this is going to happen. I think the Mustangs can rest, since they're unlikely to get in second or first. Look, they're going to be gunning for it because they could finish both any of those positions. Most likely third, but there is a pathway for them to finish first. I'm sure that they are going to try their hardest to get that Friday off because it is a big deal in finals.
Yeah. Also, talking about Mustangs, I read their store opens the day before finals.
Cool.
Oh, the what's it called again?
The state.
Not the stable.
No, I keep thinking it's called Ringside.
It's Ringside, yeah.
Ringside, that's it. See, I always think it's the stables now, even though it's not.
Yeah, but it is good for fans going to finals, getting to kind of check it out. I hope they also open up the Melbourne Ice store longer hours.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool too. I think having both of them open will be great. I did see that they don't just have Mustangs or ice gear, those two stores. They have other stuff too, which is cool.
Yeah.
So, there's NHL stuff and what's in there, so I'm sure everyone will get into it. I just want someone to create a big sticker or lots of little stickers of the stables and just plaster it around.
What it could have been.
Todd, one of the Rhinos fans, puts Crash Crew stickers everywhere, so I should get one of those and whack that on the window as I leave.
I like it. I know he was trying to get other teams' fans to come bring him stickers from there so he could put them all out. I think it's such a cool idea. I've still got to send him a Brave one, but I think that would be really, really cool to see. We got some other comments here. Yo, ice hockey chat time. Indeed it is. How great is it? And we've got Eric here. Potential storyline for finals. Bears and Ice Dogs both in finals after not playing last season and Ice to miss finals entirely. 90% of the league would cheer for that one.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. I think it's a great way to be like, oh, we missed a year, but look at us. We're in finals.
Especially with what the Bears have been through, what the Dogs have been through, losing points as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has been interesting because both the Bears and the Ice Dogs have had seasons where, they have gone through rough patches as well as really good times. It'd be interesting to see if they both make it. But, that's the good thing about this league. With 6 teams making it, you can go through rough patches in the year and still make finals. So,
yeah.
Should be fun. We got another question here. Can the Mustangs please get one more game? This top of the table logjam is stressing me out so much that I'm cheering for Ice to beat the Braves. It'd be really interesting to see that because the Ice, obviously, they have to win, but the Brave have to win as well. I think, and I don't know if there's going to be anyone missing. I know there wasn't very many suspensions this week. I think there was like one player with one game.
Yeah.
So it would be real interesting to see what happens. And so many better names, but good that we have another store. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I know someone who can make you badges. Really? Gee, really? I love that. That's awesome. And yes, Todd's still waiting for Sean O'Connor. Look, I'll get it to you, Todd. I'll get it to you. I promise.
I assume he's got a North Stars one already. He's friends with a lot of the North Stars crew that have the stickers. So I'd be shocked if he doesn't have a Musketeers one already.
Yeah, I think he has one. Yeah.
Yeah, especially the fan groups. They're pretty cool. I still wish the Bravehearts were still around. That would be a pretty cool one to make too. I always thought they could make a really cool logo. But yeah.
They could have a new cool one with the Highland Cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calling on
Brave fans. Let's set you a challenge, Brave fans.
Yeah. Anyway, Eric says that the Ice and Mustang stores do sell PWHL gear, which is pretty awesome. Like, I don't think you could probably get that anywhere else in Australia. So that's pretty cool. And I'm hoping that they also sell AWHL gear too. That would be pretty awesome.
Would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Todd does say sure do. All right, guys. Let's quickly move into the review. Obviously, we've already touched on some subjects already, but last weekend, look, I was just telling Claire before we went live, I was surprised at all the blowouts. Like compared to the week before where everything was really close, it just seemed a vastly different weekend of hockey action. Yeah, how did you feel caught watching the hockey last week?
I was a bit. I think the one that shocked me the most was the Bears Thunder game, where Bears won 10-5, because I didn't expect Thunder to be so under strength, and it made a lot more sense when I realized they brought a short bench over, which really didn't help them on Sunday when they lost a couple more to injury. So I think that one probably shocked me the most. What didn't surprise me was how well Canberra played. I was very much expecting they would bring it, but Newcastle just couldn't find their feet. So, we dropped a game very late in the season. But Sunday was super fun. Sunday is, last home game of the season. It's nice to have Newcastle win. Good vibes on the ice afterwards when we do the big family photo, which just it feels like it gets bigger and bigger every year, which is crazy. But yeah, it was a lot of fun also commentating both of those games because they were such contrasting games to talk about. The way, particularly the way both teams played. So Saturday, Canberra was just all over Newcastle. The pressure, they were getting their sticks in the way. They were forechecking hard. They were skating hard. So it was like a whole level up compared to Sunday, where it felt like Newcastle had a lot more time to do things, make passes, make decisions, because Perth just weren't pressuring as much. Yeah. But they certainly didn't make it easy. They were playing really well. It just, I think Newcastle outskated them, and they would have got a bit gassed having such a short bench. So, outside of that, I wasn't too surprised about the adrenaline results. They were a very different team to obviously the weekend before, but I don't know. I think we're just getting in that window where maybe they're just ready for the season to be over. And but I specifically I made a note on my list that just shouting out to the fans, because it just feels like the fans keep showing up, and that can be really hard to do when your team's not doing well. So that's something I love about hockey fans, is they just keep showing up whether you win or lose the previous game. Whereas I follow the A-League, and if you lose a couple of games, you have like 5,000 less people in the stadium. So.
Yeah, I always look at in the A-League the difference the Central Coast Mariners get. If they're winning, they get a huge crowds there with stud to source. But when they're losing, there's like no one around.
Oh yeah, it's the same. It's the same with the Jets. Like Adelaide fans, I feel you. Like other than prior to last year with the soccer, they're always at the bottom of the table. So I get it. I get how hard it is to show up. So just big kudos to those fans. I think that's really, really cool that you keep showing up, you keep supporting them. It will be making a difference.
On the Adelaide thing, I do think that they've actually done a really good job, Jamie and co down there, to actually try and change the general vibe of the Adelaide season. Like it was in a pretty bad place just, a month ago, but they've sort of managed to be able to put on some stuff to be able to really change that and get a good feeling happening again. Yeah, they were really flat last weekend on the road, but again, they weren't traveling with everyone. It's always harder when you have a short bench, especially when you've not had a good season. Yeah. They looked a very different team on the road compared to what they were the week before against Brisbane, where, they did lose the 2 games, but they were epic games down to the wire.
They were great games.
All the fans were into it. And so, I fully expect this weekend, the Adelaide Barn's going to get packed out again, and we're going to hear a lot of loud cheering.
I hope so.
And that's a good thing about the fans. They do stick around. The back end of the season, they're not in finals contention, but they're showing up in droves still. The growth, and that kind of shows the growth of hockey, right? Having that at the back end of the season with injuries, being out of finals contention, it's good to see fans who stick around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Claire, what other things surprised you about the weekend, or you were impressed on the weekend by anyone?
There was a few things. Nick Sykes obviously getting, I think it was 4 goals for the Bears against Perth. And then Thomas Moncrief for the Dogs getting 2. against Rhinos, which was cool to watch.
Yeah, 4-point game, and that's what got him the Player of the Week award too.
Yeah. I think he was he seems like a bit of a quiet achiever. Like he's not talked about as much, and then he just comes out and does that, which is it's good to watch.
Yeah, I feel like it was like a couple of years ago, obviously before the Bears went into hibernation. He was quite an integral player for their team.
Yes.
He's never been the highest point scorer in the world, but he played an important role for that Bears team.
Yeah.
And then it just seemed to be at the start of the season, he played a couple of games, limited minutes, and then they just obviously just couldn't fit him into the team, and he couldn't get any ice time. So I'm glad that he decided to go make that switch to be able to go find some ice time, and I think he's been rewarded for that.
Yeah, I agree. You obviously want ice time, and it is limited in teams, and there is so much talent here. I'm sure if we had more teams, there'd be more opportunities, but we just don't. So you've got to kind of be your own advocate and go where the opportunities are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so true. We do have a couple of other comments on here. Eric was saying that was a big if. Oh, yeah. If they don't have it, Eric, they need to get it in.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I feel the same, Eric. It's so hard to get it from overseas, and like the American dollar almost doubles it. So, got to ship it from Canada. But then when you because they don't ship, you've got to send it to like one of their parcel package things and then have them send it from there to here. It's like you end up paying almost triple the cost. It's like they're really missing a whole market that's done here that would absolutely wear their merch.
Yes,
and once you buy it, you kind of just want it now, right? You don't want to have to go here.
Yeah, and I did it. I did it once ages ago, and it cost me so much. But I do love wearing the stuff.
Yes.
So I remember the last NHL gear I got. My friend was living over in Washington. His partner works for DFAT, and so they were able to send me out the gear through the embassy, which was pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's so good.
But,
I think.
Otherwise it's really hard. It can be really hard because I think Fanatics used to be able to get it sent directly to Australia, but I don't know if you can.
Certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they kind of made it much harder.
Hopefully they'll be able to see, I don't know whether, what they take into account, whether it be, numbers watching NHL games or purchases overseas from Australians, things like that. Hopefully they take note of those things because it is growing rapidly. The people that you see, obviously more people come into the games, and yes, they're buying team jerseys, but quite often they've come from NHL or they've found it here and then found an NHL team, things like that. So hopefully they do see those things. But I just wanted to say, Court will be all over this, but what we haven't talked about, whilst North Stars only got one win on the weekend, they had so many milestones hit, so many things to celebrate. It's incredible. I'll let you do that, Court. It was wild.
Yeah, it was pretty cool seeing that hit. I've been counting down, particularly Drolet breaking the record for most points as a Newcastle North Star. We've been watching him all season. We could see from the beginning of the season. So I run a spreadsheet specifically for Newcastle with all of the stats, so I can really keep an eye on it. I update all the key people so they stay on top of it. And at the start of the year, we're like, he's going to hit that this year. And we just watched it trickle down every game. And then he had a bit of a quiet patch. And we're like, come on, man, get back. And then, yes, on Sunday, all he needed was 3 points. And he got them all in like a flurry. So while I'm commentating, I'm getting the captions and graphics posted and getting them up. But yeah, so Francis now holds 2 Newcastle North Stars records. Most goals, highest goal scorer and highest point scorer.
Right.
Both of those records have been sitting dormant since 2015. So they've been sitting there for a long time. And I am just so proud that it was him and that he accomplished it. And he's so loved in Newcastle. And he's just such a great, humble person that, I'm glad it was him. So...
Cool. Can I ask, do you know who held the records before?
Yeah. One was Rob Stark. I'm pretty sure. Were they both Rob Stark? It's possible they were both Rob Stark, but I think one might have been Brian Bales and one was Rob Stark.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
They're totally in the captions. Go to North Star socials and find them if you want to know. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Bales and Stark.
Two other legends of Newcastle.
Yeah. So, yeah, pretty cool. And like, he's not done. So those records are going to be pushed further too. So yeah, pretty cool.
When's he going to get his PR though and become
It's coming. It's coming.
And that's what everyone now wants to know, because like he basically is a local at this stage.
Yeah. Now, I really, really, really want to acknowledge two others that happened on the weekend. Brian Funes has been playing forever, and he started with the Ice Dogs, played with the Sydney Bears, but getting to celebrate 350 AIHL games with Newcastle, loved it. So that's a pretty huge accomplishment. He's only the 6th player to hit that milestone, and while we've had quite a few players hit 300 across the season, that's like 350 is cool. That's like a whole extra 2 seasons on top of that.
It's a big feat.
Yeah. So it was like he was just wrapped, and it was so good to get a win on that, and everyone congratulating him on the ice. That was a lot of fun. And
he's lifted a cup with both the Ice Dogs and the Bears.
Yeah. So he's due for another one.
So he could make it 3 from 3. Wow.
Yeah. And Bo Taylor, who's another veteran, he started with the Rhinos for his first couple of years before he moved to North Stars. He hit 200 games. So it was really cool just to see these great people hit incredible milestones and be celebrated, which is, it's not just being like, yeah, you've done that. It's like really acknowledging these numbers are huge. That requires a lot of, mental fitness, physical fitness, good health, good recovery, the dedication and the longevity of being able to manage working full-time work and playing hockey in Australia. Like that's an epic feat. Like it is believable because it happened. So yeah, pretty cool.
I do think it's one of these weird things. Not weird things. I do actually think it's one of these great things now that we do have all the teams really involved in celebrating player milestones. Because I remember times when you never heard of any player milestones around the league. Like it just wasn't a thing. Now every club gets into it. The league gets into it. We get into it. Everyone loves it. So
I think that's the growth of social media too. When you have a great team of media people working. And the way that social media has grown, it's sort of enabled teams to be able to do it more. Like I'd say there was a lot of celebrating, but it was all very behind the scenes because it wasn't really something you could publicly do. Like we can celebrate it on commentary now because of the way the streams are run. And I just think it's awesome because it's a great way to lift the players. Even on Saturday, like Bo is on 99 goals, and on both days I could see there were just a few sort of toward the end of some of the periods, Bo's out there. You could see everyone's just passing him the puck, trying to get him the puck. So watch for that on the weekend. That's another milestone we've got coming. I wouldn't be surprised if they really lift his shifts a little bit and just try and pass him the puck to just wrap that one up before the end of the year.
That's fair.
What I've noticed about North Stars, you go.
Oh, just one more that we're watching. There's so many milestones this year. So Gino is chasing the most goals in a single season. So another one that's been held for 11 years. Geordie
What's he on?
Pardon?
What's he on?
He's on 39. And
He seems to got 39 goals this season.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. And the highest is 44. Geordie Woodrick set it at 44 in 2015. So it's another one of those milestones that's been held for 11 years. He only needs 5 goals to tie, and he's 10 points away from 150 points. And he's only played 43 games. So he's really just come in and blown this league out of the water because he's not been here at the beginning of the season. He's only played short seasons. So it's pretty cool. And look, this is no slight on the Rhinos or Bears, but I feel like he's going to know those teams. He's going to be very aware of those teams and how to get around them and how to get goals. So to me, I think 5 goals and 10 points is very doable over the next 2 games. And that's no slight on either of those teams or their skills. It's just different if we were up against the Brave or up against, Perth. Like there would be a bit more it would be different. So it's I'm feeling I've got I've prepped the post, I've prepped the caption, so I'm ready to go, and that'll be pretty cool if he hits both of those this weekend.
Well, strangely enough, I do know that there is another possible massive milestone that could be hit this weekend. Very unlikely now, only because they've only got one game left. But if by miracle chances David Booth scores 10 points in his final game against the Brave, he would be the fastest player to 100 points in AHL history by a considerable margin at 23 games. But who knows? I don't think it's going to happen against the Brave. I don't think it's going to happen against the Brave, but it would be like that's phenomenally fast. I think at the moment Austin Ulbrich holds the record. I think it's 27 games.
Braves defense at the moment is on fire, I will say.
Yeah.
They've been shutting everything down and they're just chomping at the bit, really.
Booth also hasn't looked his best. Like he hasn't looked at all the way that he did last year. So I don't know that he can, because he's like, someone pointed out to me that he doesn't turn a certain way, so he might still be like feeling a bit of injury from overseas.
Yeah,
is this like a Zoolander not
very
turning
much
left?
Still, suffering a bit of injury from his time over in the UK. So, he hasn't. He's still been very effective. I still think he's like 3 points a game player, but not the same sort of level as he was last year.
No,
but that's okay.
I think it'll be interesting come finals, because it will be, if they make finals, it's kind of a clean slate again.
Yeah.
To see what happens. I think, in every team, every person has a role, and he's still very, very fit, and it's still a milestone. It's still a milestone in the AIHL.
Yeah.
So I think with Newcastle, what I've found being able to watch, more games as a whole, Newcastle have so many big impact players, right? And not only do they have so many big impact players, the whole team kind of like, I don't even know, they just band together and help people, get those milestones. So whilst North Stars have Bears and Rhinos, and as you said, it is doable, they also they work so well together to A, win, but B, help those players reach those milestones, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it, it'll be interesting to see.
So do you have some other comments on here? Brenton says, good call courts for the Brave North Stars game. Yeah, look, good analysis going on here. G says, Adelaide has bled players and a lot of bad press, but their fans were amazing and it was fun to watch them. Look, yeah, it has been. And I think they've managed now to sort of stop bleeding all the players that they were. And in the end, it's about finding the right group of players to be able to take you forward. And, sometimes that means other players have to move on to other opportunities for themselves as well, and for that team to then work. So, yeah. Sometimes
I think the team as a whole will be talking. The management as a whole will be talking about, obviously what worked and what players worked and had chemistry and things like that. Which ones that they want to bring back and how they can do things differently, right? Every team's kind of having that conversation probably already about the people that they're wanting to keep, and each team, with the players that do make up their squad, there's positives and negatives, and there's always something to learn. So I think, they'll learn from that. They'll learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Eric, mic'd up with Brian Funes and Francis Drolet was on the ice after the home game, was one of the best examples of these videos this season. That's some good feedback there, Court.
Yeah. Look, credit for that one goes to Ellie. She's been amazing with all of our video content. So, she got out there and was focused on that. I went into fan mode and just that was my 10-minute window to just talk to the guys. It was good.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. Anyway, but so last weekend obviously was a great weekend for the Brave, North Stars and Mustangs. They all did very well, even though, obviously the North Stars did have one loss against the Brave. I think that was probably one of the more interesting games of the weekend, because it was the first time we saw two sort of informed teams at the top of the table come together. Obviously the Thunder have been underdone the last few weeks, so they haven't been able to put up the competition that was probably expected of them before. And yes, Luca does say, thanks, Coach Ben, and we will get on to Ben shortly, Luca. Trust us on that. That is one of our topics for the week. But yeah, so interesting weekend. I do want to give a big shout out to Rashida for his shutout. That was his 4th in AHL games. He's now equal 6 overall in the history of the AIHL. Obviously, with Fraser Carson, who's the former Mustangs goaltender, and then Alexei Toivonen and Charlie Smart of the Thunder. So, yeah, he's in good company.
Yeah, very much so.
And yeah, and the Bears did really well on the weekend. That big win, you know, I think the scoreline probably flattered Perth in the end. I thought the Bears were they just really blew them out of the water in that game. Could have won by more than 5, but yeah, suddenly hit form at the right time of the year.
Yeah, and look, that's going to be so important going into finals. So. Yeah, when they all get down to Melbourne, they're going to want to put on a really big show on Friday night.
The other thing I wanted to ask you guys is what did you make of the Ice Dogs' victory over the Rhinos? Because obviously heading into the weekend, it was a week of turmoil for the Ice Dogs, but they seem to really take that, I guess, that energy on and really made a statement with what they put on the ice.
I think it'd be hard having these points deducted for something that has nothing to do with your gameplay, if that makes sense. And we know the rules and that's just how it works, but it would be really, really hard. So they were out to prove a point, and I very much think they did that. They kind of hit the ground running and yeah, just went with it, unfortunately. Not unfortunately. Fortunately for Ice Dogs, unfortunately for Rhinos.
I think it speaks volumes for the team's culture and the team's chemistry that they can rise above. When you can have that sort of thing happen, put it to the side and just focus on the next game, it's not always easy to do, because all of a sudden you might not be in finals contention anymore. You've all of a sudden dropped down to 7th. You can go down the path of now there's more pressure, now there's more chaos. We didn't deserve this, and you can fall into this basket of poor me. But they went the other way. They've gone, no, we know we're good. We've got this. And they put their foot down. I think, there is a difference when you don't have Oberoi in net. And I picked up on that. Nothing against Ellison. I think he's a fantastic goalie. But that can have an impact immediately on the team in front of him. When you don't have Bastille and a lot of your key players that have been such an important part of the Rhinos chemistry, I just think Ice Dogs have walked in and gone, we've got this. We've got the right state of mind. We've got the team chemistry. We still have a spot in finals. We're going to get it. And we're going to get these points so we get there. So it's such it can go either way. And I think Ice Dogs did a great job of showing why they should have a spot in finals.
I 100% agree with that. Zach says the Ice Dogs are still challenging all 5 points, so they might get them back. I know the Ice are also challenging their 2-point deduction too. Who knows what will happen with that? I don't fancy there's going to be anything that might change, but who knows? I don't know. This league already throws up, situations which you don't expect every other week.
I can only imagine how messy it is for the people that have to deal with it. In the meantime, we're just watching this finals race and getting ready for the weekend.
Yeah. And it's it is interesting when we will have an answer, if we'll have an answer, if anything will change. Because if it does before finals, it can throw everything up. 100%. But then if it does after, like hypothetically, what if the person that just clinches 6 wins a cup? Can happen.
Yeah.
So
not this year.
I don't want the messiness of all that. Just seems crazy to me. But anyway, it's already been crazy and messy. Daniel, Here you go. It says 3 times Kanto Hashimoto's and 2 times Alex Boyven's. Look, if one team could have that as their import lineup for the year, I'm sure they would be absolutely rocking in this league. And yes, Todd says the Ice Dog fans were informed too. They were louder than they usually are at their home. Look, that's really great. And it was really good to see a big packed out stadium again for the Ice Dogs. I always love seeing every team get sellouts. They haven't always had sellouts, so I just love seeing that. So
I did notice in the Dogs, the fan group, they were really rallying behind the boys, and then let's they didn't have any obviously home games left, so they said let's all band together and go and throw the support behind the boys at the away game after what's happened this week, and they showed up in droves. So it's good.
G says the whole points thing was a draw on a bingo card. G, I think you need to have it on your bingo card because this is the 4th year in a row we've seen teams lose points late on. So
I did say I'm going to call it social media bingo next year.
Yeah, I love the idea. I think we definitely need this at the start of the year. I'd love to see how it goes, and then by the middle of the year, see how you're tracking, and then the end of the year. I reckon that'd be really fun. Emma says Dogs can focus on beating Brisbane ×2 for all 6 points. It can still make finals. That's right. They're still all in their own hands, and this is why I think they went out against the Rhinos and just did the business. Because they know, it doesn't matter. You can take the points off us and we'll fight you on that, but we can still go out there and put on the performance on the ice and still make finals.
Yeah. One game at a time.
Yeah, that's right. And then we've got another comment on here. Really like Stephen White's Q&A AHL videos. Yeah, look, I've been absolutely loving them. He's now put out, 3 or 4? And he plans to keep producing more because people keep asking questions. And he's got answers. So I love that. It's just an extra line of communication between someone who's involved with the league and then the fans and supporters, because they don't often have a direct line to ask questions. Which I love. I really do. And he's very honest.
He is, yeah.
He's honest, but he articulates things well.
Yeah.
So
and I like that he takes time to kind of try and explain the reasons behind a decision is made, because it's not always obvious to everyone why something happens. I take case in point the whole Hoyts situation, right? And the fact that there are no venues in Brisbane and Adelaide, and Stephen talked about the fact that it was originally only going to be in Docklands. But then it kind of expanded out from there, and it was a real risk on Hoyts' behalf to take this on, because they didn't know how popular it was. They didn't know how it would actually present in their theaters and everything either. And then when the test happened and it was successful, they went, okay, let's branch out to a few other places. Where are we likely to get the best crowds? Well, the teams that are from the regions where the teams are most likely going to make finals, and that's probably why we haven't seen venues in those 2 locations, because they wanted to prioritize those other areas first. But
we also don't know if they've booked up all of their cinemas with actual movies too. They might have to run movies, so they may not have actually had a theater available at that time. If they had
facilitate.
So there's
I do think that the sales certainly have been very, enormously positive. I think they've almost sold out everything, even the second screening that they put on in Docklands. So if the actual show ends up working out really well over the weekend, and that it's a real successful event, I can definitely see Hoyts being interested again next year, and interested in expanding it further to the other areas where they didn't go this year. Because they can then have numbers and, go to those venues and go, look how successful this was. We did all these sales. It happened this fast. It just worked out. It's really positive for the league.
It's exciting.
Very much so. Oh man, I wish I got ticket at Belconnen. I missed out, but it should be good. Eric does also bring up another thing here today. Adelaide have announced today that Coach Rory will also be their coach next season. So obviously extending day of coach announcements. And it's been a pretty crazy day of coaching announcements. What did you guys make of the Perth announcement today?
I think it's smart. I think going into finals, letting Ben just focus on being a player and having someone on the bench that can run the bench, that because when you like having done both, you see so much more when you're standing on the bench watching the game and watching how things are working. When you're on the ice, he'll be very focused on his position, where he is, where the puck is, and how he can be helpful. So he's going to miss something that happens elsewhere during that shift, and that can take away a little bit of his effectiveness to coach in that moment. So or it's going to make him super distracted, and he's going to be watching what everyone else is doing and not necessarily playing effectively. So in the final crucial 2 weeks of the year, I think this is great to have that kind of support. And look, JFK is a championship winning coach. He won the cup with Perth Inferno just a few months ago. So why not bring some good luck on the bench?
He's also a former AIHL Coach of the Year as well from 2019 with the North Stars. He also runs his own, I don't know, what is it, like an academy? I don't know.
It's National Sports Academy.
Yeah, which he's been doing for a few years now, and he runs that out at Cockburn Arena, I think.
Yeah.
And he does it's very comprehensive. It's run really, really, really well.
So he's very experienced. Like, he's been around the AHL forever as well. Like, he was an import, obviously, player before he became Australian, represented Australia at Worlds a couple of times. I
think he was on the Canberra Knights a long time ago.
He first got to Australia through the Canberra Knights before he then moved to the North Stars and became, a big player for the North Stars for many years. And then obviously went into coaching, head coaching and assistant coaching. And then he went over to Perth, played for Perth Thunder for a couple of seasons as he set up his academy over there. And then took over the Inferno job last year, sort of mid-season, I think it was.
It was, yeah.
It did really well. Obviously won the cup there, and now he's sort of come in to the Thunder now. Really interesting. I didn't expect this at all, and I don't know. Do you think? What do you think? What do you actually think the reason is behind this? Because they kind of haven't really provided any particular reason for why there's been a change. I know that Perth have been on a bad run. Could that be the main reason?
See, I like Court's point of view. It's not one I've thought of, as in having Ben just be able to be a player. My first thought was, I know that other codes have changed coaches similarly. However, it's not generally seen that we will, like in the AIHL, that we'll change a coach right before finals. And yes, they've had a bad run, but typically in AIHL history, even then, we'd see them out to the end of the season. But as Court said, letting Ben be able to focus being a player, because you can't, being a player coach successfully is very, very, very hard to do. And look, it's been a great season overall for Perth, minus the last few weeks, injuries and those kinds of things. But Court's right. It could just be to allow Ben to focus on finals.
And he's such a good player too. So he has such a good impact. So it takes away a distraction.
And it's interesting. I have seen other players as well who have taken on either leadership roles on the ice or off the ice. And then they move away from that back into just playing roles, and they change how they're playing. I think someone mentioned to me today, Scott Timmins, for instance, he's no longer the coach at the Mustangs, and he's having a great year this year, on the ice. Obviously got the cease this year, but he's been able to adapt to that change and sort of focus on the one area. And I think Jamie Woodman's another one in Perth who gave away his C. Kieran Webster took it this year, and and I know he's injured right now, but Woodman's had a great season.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned to me that it's been one of his greatest seasons for a long time. So it's interesting.
We never know. See what happens this weekend. See if having that kind of pressure change for him. If he bring something different.
I'm glad that he's staying with the organization and staying on the playing roster. I'd have been really sad to see Ben leave. because he's been such an important part of, not just Thunder hockey, but Perth hockey in general and Western Australian hockey. And I think he's such a character for the league. And yeah, it'd be sad if and when he leaves, but I hope he sticks around. All right. We got a few other comments on here. Phil Taylor, the one and only, took Inferno to their first A-Dub championship. They sure did. That's JFK. And we got here IMAX next year. That'd be pretty cool. I don't know how many IMAX we've got here, but that would be awesome. My understanding is that the screenings they do have are on pretty big screens. I don't know if they're on IMAXs, but they're on pretty big screens as it is. So
extreme screen kind of thing, yeah.
And a familiar thing, we need bigger barns, as we do. Definitely need bigger barns. I think we've talked about that almost weekly, I feel. And Peter says Thunder are really short, and this frees up Ben basically to do top line minutes, which would be great for them.
Yeah.
I remember, when he first came across, he was an import forward when he first came over, and he was like a 50-plus point a season player.
Wow.
Obviously, he's a lot older now as well, but he then took on dual responsibilities. It should be good. And what else have we got here? Jeremy Friedrich is the coach of the Adelaide Rush too. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the adrenaline goalie. I think he was the head coach 2 years ago. I think he might have been assistant coach last year, or still could be head coach. I can't quite remember, but yeah, he's been heavily involved in coaching, and then kind of being the goaltender for the adrenaline as a secondary thing. But yeah, great player, great person. All right, guys, let's move on to our next topic that I wanted to talk about, and that were the two teams that clinched last weekend. So Sydney Bears and Perth Thunder, despite their losses, clinched based on the current points. If there's changes to points, again, things can change. I don't know. But based on current points, they're in.
I think it's pretty set.
It can only change for Perth. I think because Bears got the win, they locked in. They got the points. They got the actual points they needed. Whereas Perth clinched purely based on the tiebreakers. So,
yes.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. I think we all worked it out. It was, the points percentage tiebreaker is what got Perth in over the Melbourne Ice. Really weird that it's down to a cancelled game. Like, I've never seen that actually make a difference before.
It's not what people want, though, nor the teams, really.
Do you really think that, it's appropriate to have that as the first tiebreaker? I can get it. You can have it as a tiebreaker because I guess it could make a difference. But surely that could be lowered down in the order of tiebreakers, right?
I can only assume there's a reason for it. They've done it for a reason at some point in history, and that's why it's there.
Yeah, I suppose. It just seems very odd to me.
And I know there's a lot of pros and cons about, obviously when season starts and ends and things like that, there's a lot to get into such a short amount of time, really, in the scheme of things. But having that, whether we start a week earlier or what, but having that extra weekend before finals to potentially fix those issues going forward can't hurt. We already had a Ice Dogs Brave game, rescheduled because of the ice and things like that. If that wasn't able to be rescheduled, then, how would things work that way? It makes it so hard if there's not that flexibility a little bit.
Yeah, and it's interesting this year as well. I think if you look back on a few, the last few years, we've always actually had a couple of weekends per year where we've, everyone's had buys, whether that be for Easter or whatever it is. I think Nationals was the other one the other year. Or they've had a week before finals is on. So this year they decided to not have any of those breaks and instead start the season a couple of weeks later. Which, there's good advantages to doing that as well. But it does mean that if there are cancelled games or postponed games, it's hard to find a slot to put them into.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess there's one of these things. Scheduling is always crazy.
Oh, I'm glad it's not me. I don't know how they do it, but it does. Like, there's pros and cons to both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I think we're in the end very lucky that we didn't have Worlds because it meant that there was a lot less issues.
Yeah.
This season, but that's all right. Okay, so yeah, so pretty great. I'm really happy for the Bears organization. I'm sure they're absolutely stoked about that. Yeah, they fully deserve to get in, and I'm sure they're now preparing for finals. And yeah, they got some good weapons on their team, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how Nick goes in finals. Because he's got to go back to France, and I don't know when he's going to France. Because often French teams like their players to come in early. But yeah, anyway, it should be good. Next topic, guys. I did want to touch on to the amazing win runs that we're seeing in this league at the moment. Brave are on a 12-game winning streak. The Mustangs are on a 10-game winning streak. They verse each other this weekend. How crazy is it that we've got two teams that seem to just suddenly be always winning?
I just think they know what they're fighting for, and they know they need the points, and it's just a product of the ladder that we're seeing as well.
Yeah, and they know what's working, so they're sticking to that, right? They know what's getting them over the line. They know what systems are working. They have overall, from what I can see, less injuries than other teams do have, and they're kind of capitalizing on that too to bring it home.
It's interesting. I didn't expect to see either of these two teams on such large winning streaks. But the Brave are edging towards their all-time winning streak. There's still some way to go. They've got to get to 17. I don't know how you win 17 games in a row, but they've done it once before. That was in 2019. But yeah, 12
that's
big.
wild. Yeah. I will say, on the Saturday game that I watched in Newcastle, both teams played well, but yeah, Canberra's defense was on point, and I feel like they just wanted it more that day, which is hard because I know Northside, like, they are still gunning because they want that top spot to not have to worry on the Friday, but yeah, Brave they're just locked in from the second they hit the ice.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yes, we got on here. Unstoppable force meets immovable object. I think they're both unstoppable forces, to be fair. And then, yeah, Steve Smith, they're both due a loss. I'm sure if that was the case, Newcastle will be very happy, as Steve Smith will be very happy.
It's going to be a great game to watch, regardless. It's going to be, yeah.
We are going to touch into some of the scenarios that might occur this weekend as far as winning the premiership. So, yeah, I think Newcastle's in the front seat of all of this. They've got the most avenues to victory. But, yeah, it'll be an interesting weekend. And, yeah, Phil saying both Brave and Mustangs have become extremely disciplined with their structures and play. And, I mean, that's what happens when, you finally lock in with your full squad. You don't have that many injuries or suspensions. You kind of, you click into a groove and you just keep going. And you get to know each other very well. Like, the chemistry is unbelievable at the moment on those two teams. Just like in Newcastle.
Yeah.
Peter says, if a team was awarded 2 points instead of 1, Rule 2A, which is the tiebreaker rule, would work against them as the points percentage. Yeah. Look, I've never looked at points percentages so much as I have this last week, and I absolutely hate it. That's my feeling of it all. All right, guys. So we're heading into the last weekend. I did want to touch on to our scoring leaders and goalie leaders heading into this final week. Court, you're going to be stoked. Skachkov is on top. He's worked his way to the top of the scoring chart, 79 points. Harala?
Yes.
Is second on 77. And then Hops is third on 75, with Bouchard on 68 and Timmins on 67 as sort of the outside chances there in fourth and fifth. How confident are you that Skachkov's got this locked up, or do you think that Harala Hops might snatch it on the final weekend?
Look, I am counting on the Ice Dogs to keep to keep Hops out of the way. I think top two spots are going to be a little bit of a battle between Sketch and Santi, but more often than not, they're on each other's points. So if Sketch scores, Santi probably assisted, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. So they may stay a little bit tit for tat, but sort of same point I made earlier, talking about Sketch hitting 5 points to equal the record and 10 points to hit 150 this year. I think it's doable. So if he can, I want him to hit that 10 because I want him to hit 150 points in 45 games. That would be epic. So if he does that, then I think we'll see him stay at the top.
No, that's fair. What about you, Claire? What are you thinking? Do you think Bouchard has a chance?
Look, I think he's always out to prove a point, and I think, like we've talked about other teams, obviously they're not in finals contention. Their goal is going to be for an upset, and whilst I think North Stars will take it, I don't think Rhinos are going to make it easy for them. And we know that Bush will go till the last minute, so you never know what luck. I don't think he's going to be
not in final contention. You might actually see the team try and play in Bouchard more because he is in a chance to be able to get a personal.
That is true too. That is
and
true
that's the same with Hops with Brisbane, right?
Yeah. I think there can still be some upsets this weekend.
100%. I mean, if Lightning turn around and have two blitz of games, that's going to make life very hard for the Ice Dogs. So. To me, Rhinos, Adelaide, and Lightning should be out to disrupt the entire weekend and throw it into a spin.
That
should be their goal.
We've seen it happen, and that's it. They can still all cause a stir, 100%. And this is the thing: is that no team, even the teams that are out, they're still going to fight hard this weekend. There's still a lot of movement at the bottom. That can happen. Not at the bottom, but you know what I mean? Like there's still, we're still waiting on the possibility of one of two teams, clinching finals still. And there is a possibility, of Rhinos creating upsets, Lightning making upsets, or if Lightning upset and get 2 wins, then obviously that bumps them up into 8th as well. So there's lots of movement.
Yeah.
Just to extend on your point, Claire, when you look at the upcoming draw too, you've got Rhinos are at home, Brisbane's at home, Adelaide's at home. They're going to want to put on a huge show to end the season for their fans. Correct. Those fans that have shown up to every game, that's going to matter to them. So not only what you've just said, but also factor in there at home. They're going to be big weekends.
Rhinos taking the win at the end of the season has happened the last few years, and it's like it's the best feeling. You know what it's like? You guys had the last home win last weekend, and just it's electric in the stands. It really is.
And now I'm torn because I like teams getting that last home game win.
Yeah.
But Newcastle needs the points.
Unless it's your team.
And the Ice Dogs need the points for them, right? Like, there's so much riding on these games. But it's so
very stressful.
I do think Ice Dogs will be locked in. Like they had a great win on the weekend, and they are here to prove a point. And again, they want to make finals. They didn't get to play as a team last year, and I'm so grateful that Bears and Dogs dispersed between the teams, so we could still see incredible players, grow. But they'll be there ready to prove a point and ready to take that spot. And I'm sure Melbourne will as well. It's they're going to be going hard.
Doogie has joined the chat saying, wasn't it sold out arena last week and they got done 9-2? Hey, Doogie. And yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes you can't control getting a victory even in your last game. Like, it just doesn't happen. But it's great to see that the fans were still turning out there. I'm sure Todd was gearing up everyone over there, and they're having lots of fun. Steve Smith had the tissues on hand for Todd. Oh, poor Todd. And I didn't realize this, but it's been, what, a month since Brisbane's had any home games? I haven't checked that. That seems like a long time. Because
I feel like a few teams had big gaps between home games.
Yeah.
Rhinos had almost a month as well. I think
Brave also had like a period where they were like away for ages and before.
Yeah. It wasn't kind of even like it has been in other seasons.
There is a topic on here, guys, and I don't know if we want to quickly grab onto this before we get onto the goaltenders, or we want to do goaltenders first. Let's do goaltenders first, then we'll jump onto this. Currently, the leader in the league is Joel Hasselman, the Kiwi goalkeeper for the Brave.
Right.
He is both leading the league in save percentage, 9.914. And then he's also leading the league in goals against average as well.
Oh,
unbelievable! I don't know how he's managed to do this, but he sort of came out of nowhere, because he didn't start the season as the number one for the Brave. He was the sort of Sunday goalkeeper initially, then that sort of switched around with Tets, and he's just having an absolute blinder of a season. He's obviously
got the shutout a few months ago.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he got his first shutout. He's just ahead of Ryan Burrows of the Ice Dogs, who's currently in second. He's the only other goalkeeper in the 900s at the moment, so he's in 0.903. And then you've got Charlie Smart,
just out,
and Trinker all in the 890s. So they're only just outside and very close. How do you guys see the tenders going this weekend?
I feel like most weekends we get a goalie clinic. They all have been playing unbelievably this year, and a lot of goalies just been having great seasons. So, you know, I've said it in commentary, and I think I've said it a few times here, that the only way to really score on these goalies is moving them laterally. You've got to play smart. You can't just come straight in at them. You've got to come in, get your trailer, move them this way, quick pass, quick shot. Like,
in the open,
there's a lot of effort to get that puck where you need it to be and to create gaps. And I think I'm just such a fan of all of the goalies this year, because I think they've all put on a show at various points. So I think we've had a few shutouts too, like 4 or 5 for the year. So I think in the caliber of talent on the teams this year to do that is pretty cool.
I feel like other years there's been a clear number 1, number 2 goalie, whereas this year I feel like things are so much more even, and it's not like Arnon, for example. Arnon rarely, pulls himself or has another, but a lot of teams are sharing the load a lot more, and there's no massive differential anymore, which is exciting. I've always been a Tetrio fan, but Hasselman's killing it.
Yeah, he's such a nice person. I mean, they're both nice guys, but yeah, I'm glad that Joel is having a great season. Phil concurs; he's having an exceptional year, and I guess when your goalkeeper's hot, you've got to play him, right? And in the end, you've got to prioritize that, even if you come in with a tandem in sort of place. And Doogie's on this. Ryan Burrows is plus 900, which means it gives the Dogs a big chance in finals if they make it. Get hot for 1 weekend. I can't remember who was the Mustangs goaltender when they won in 2014. 2013, sorry, because they were like, it was an import goaltender. I can't remember his name, but he was phenomenal that finals. Like, he got two shutouts in the finals, which is insane,
unheard of for
but
finals.
like, and that's what it can take sometimes, right? Like, you can just get a goaltender who's now suddenly unstoppable, like no one can beat him, and like you're almost a shoo-in for the cup.
Yeah, makes a difference. And he's right, giving the Dogs a big chance.
Liam Hughes was the goaltender.
I was going to say Liam Hughes. I just quickly Googled it.
G says, I love when they share the goalie love. Look, there's lots of love to go around with the goaltenders, and I'm sure they're all going to make their marks this weekend as well before finals. Because there's such fine margins between them all.
We need to get some goalie save compilations happening.
So cool. How have you felt Trinker's first season in the AIHL? Obviously, we're now at the end, and he's been in a very different situation than he's ever been in his career before. How have you felt he's gone?
Look, I think he's been unbelievable in Newcastle. I think he's been able to find a groove. He's been able to get comfortable. And there were just so many times when doing the post-game interview with Coach Kevin Noble, and he would just say he's just been so solid in net that the team in front are playing with less stress. And I think that's just such an awesome compliment for a goalie, that their performance is so up there that the rest of the team can play a bit different, and they can take a bit more risk. They can put a bit more on the line to try and get those goals. And I've said it a few times with different players across different teams, but you put the right person into the right group and you will just see them thrive. And,
Nice.
and as far as Newcastle goes, it's like I feel like Funes has had a great couple of seasons. Bazzy's had a great year. Trinker's had a great year. You know, Josh Aitken's moving over to Melbourne Ice. He's lifted his game and having a great time at Melbourne. And you put a player in the right environment, you will get the best out of them. So, for me, I just think Trinker's just been amazing, and he's been very loved and worked so hard. He's earned his spot being number one. He's worked for it, and from what I've been told. And, I think the fans have loved him for it.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I always like when fans get on board when players move. Because I'm sure it's not easy, all of a sudden, like, especially when you've been with another team for a while, or you're, because in Trinker's case, he, moved up to Brisbane last year and became an instant success up there and then left. And then I'm sure that's not easy again to go to another new environment and try and click in with the fans there. But they seem to have taken to him, and it's good to see him perform.
Yeah,
fans seem to wrap people with so much love in Newcastle, especially like they take the time straight out and come and talk with them straight away, which helps build that rapport, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Our league is at a level where there is a lot more access to the players. You can get closer to them, spend more time talking to them, whereas in a lot of other sports, they're so far out of reach that you don't get that kind of relationship. So when you take the time to build it, then you're going to have a lot of support behind you.
Yeah. We were even talking to – sorry, go.
No, go.
We were even talking to Charlie about that like a few weeks ago. Having that accessibility now as it grows will like benefits the fans and the players and the team, because people can really, buy in and get to know their favorite player, get to talk to them, those kinds of things. Which really helps solidify your fan base and brings people in.
100%, and it's so much better than just like knowing a name on a sheet, right? And seeing them, in the distance somewhere, and that's it, right? Like if you actually get to know someone, you get that much more personal connection and get a lot more invested in watching their success.
It's interesting to see though. I liken this to Formula One in a way of, it's always interesting to see the fans that follow the team, but then the fans that follow, their favorite players when their favorite player gets traded or, gets moved to another team, whether they stick with their team or they follow their favorite player.
Yeah, I feel like in like a lot of team sports that doesn't happen as much. I know Formula One, it's a big thing. Like people do follow drivers, like a lot. Like, I would say I'm a Williams supporter, which is odd for a lot of people. But, there's a lot of people will be like, a Leclerc fan or, George Russell maybe if they're crazy. But you know what I mean? Like Antonelli, what you name whoever, Piastri, whoever you want. But and they will move with them, they will go support whatever team they race for. But yeah, in team sports it's less of an like it's a less of a thing. I do know, like, Messi and Ronaldo, for instance, they're two players in football who doesn't matter where they move, there's fans dedicated to those two players.
Yeah.
I'm very much a team player, but I'll pay attention to where others have gone. Like my early NHL was the Blackhawks, so I kept an eye on how Pat Kane was doing at Detroit and other teams, and Jonathan Taves came back last year and played for the Jets, so I watched a few of the Jets games just to see how he was doing. But my focus always goes back to the Hawks or Kraken. So
yes, and I was always a massive Johnny Gaudreau fan from when he was at the Flames, and then I would follow wherever he was just to see how he's going. Obviously a very sad ending there. Let's move on. In almost all sports here, we got another comment. In almost all sports here, defense wins titles, attack gets you there. It's a very truism. Although our league really likes to emphasize the attack part of it rather than the defense. Been watching, and I find it strange when defense plays different when someone is a net. Look, that is something I find about hockey in general, is that like confidence in your goaltender behind can make a big difference to how your defense and how your team plays. Probably more so than other sports, like even like football, like it's less important. But I find in hockey, that having that confidence does make a big difference.
Yeah.
I've heard quite a lot of people talk about that. So, here we go. We need some bigger arenas. Brisbane is sold out constantly. Look, I think that's an issue around the league in general now. Finals included, even Hoyts. We're finding that tickets are being sold out and sold out really quickly. Like, I haven't been able to bring friends to a Canberra Brave game because you got to try and arrange that like weeks or months in advance, rather than going, I'm free this Saturday. Oh, let's go to the hockey, right? Like you can't just make those sort of snap decisions.
Yeah, well, even like season, it'll be interesting again. Season passes, how many they allocate till they set their exhaustion limit for season passes, because obviously you still want to be able to have an allocation for people who want to buy single game tickets and things like that. So that'll be interesting to see how quick those get snatched up. But also you find in finals last year, I found, obviously once a certain team didn't make it or whatever, they'd be up for grabs. But you're not even seeing those being offered anymore. People just want to be there regardless now. I'm finding I haven't seen as many on selling this season as compared to last season.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting.
That's just my thoughts.
I do know that it was a gripe that happened in the AHL fans group, for instance, was just like every post was just people either buying or selling tickets, looking for tickets or selling tickets. That's been less of an issue, but that's also, I think, because they set up rules around the word ticket and what can actually be allowed in to try and direct people into like an actual thread or something like this. I don't know. But I think that's probably true. I think most people who are buying tickets are going to games, not selling unless they really have to. Crazy times, guys. We definitely need bigger arenas. I reckon every team could probably sell out much bigger stadium than they're currently in.
Absolutely. Do you think if we were to get bigger arenas, we would have the inclusion of more AIHL teams in future, or do you think we would keep?
So Stephen actually answered this on his little videos that he's been doing on Instagram.
Yeah, I must have missed one.
It's interesting. So it's because obviously there is part of that, but there's also the flip side is that you've got to be able to have the player base to be able to support more teams, and we can't. I think that what most people feel is that we're kind of at the point where with 10 teams, you've got a good mix of players being able to play, like especially a lot of more youngsters than we used to.
You're so right. Yeah.
But also still being quite competitive. Like, only this, like you look at this year, the only team that really fell off competitive was Adelaide. Everyone else was very competitive for large sections of this season.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I definitely feel like there probably could be some space for some more teams, but you probably have to build more junior players.
It is the long game.
Yeah. And that requires more suburban rinks. And, a good example of, this now sort of changing as well is like you look at that new rink going up in Brisbane, for instance, which is just going to be a suburban rink that's supporting lots of youth development and local league stuff and whatnot. And I'll get the details again and I'll post about it. I did get some more details today. I just got to pull it up. But, this is, again, just kind of that you kind of need that to go ahead to be able to build the base up of players to then go, we could support another team.
Yeah, there's so many things to focus on. It'll just be interesting. Long game to look back.
You do want youngsters to be able to get good ice time and good chances. And
I think that's also dependent on the clubs, the filtering and the how each club and each rink kind of develops their younger players to be able to facilitate that pipeline, right?
Yeah,
that's right, 100%. And and it's also about their priorities. So like a team that's going for like the Goodall Cup that year probably is not going to play youngsters as much because they want results. They're driven by results that year. Why you might have another team that goes, look, we're in this part of our cycle where we want to develop our players because we want to go for a cup in 3 years' time.
Yeah.
So therefore, they're going to give more ice time to their third and fourth lines because they want those players to get better, build that depth. So in 3 or 4 years, they're going to be really strong.
Run. Yeah.
So that's always interesting. I'm just trying to see if I can bring this up. Do you want to talk about another topic while I do this? A second.
Let's have a look. I've lost track of where we're up to.
You can go into some comments too if you want.
Yeah, well, look, just on the same bit, Doogie's made a great comment, a great point here, just saying there's a lot of things that should come first before expansion. And he really is spot on. There's a lot of things that need to be tidied up and cleaned up before you can really have another team in the factor. So, Adelaide's rink for one, the lease and the where they're playing and what's going on, like that's just always so up in the air. So you can't be bringing in a new team and new costs, and then they've got another team falling apart. Like, and there's so much more. There's so much more that makes this point ring true. So as much as extra teams would be great, you've also got to factor that a lot of these teams aren't necessarily working in profit. Like they're running.
There's a lot that aren't.
Yeah, and so you all of a sudden add another team, and then you're putting more financial pressure on everyone else. And I think we saw that firsthand last season in the AIHL. They brought the Melbourne Ducks in, and then all of a sudden you've got an extra trip to play against them.
Yeah,
that's more money. You've got more things you've got to do to factor in a whole extra team. So I think we're going to get a lot of things right behind the scenes before you can actually then go, okay, now we are at capacity to schedule. But I guess the other big thing is ice time, right? Where are you going to get
the cost of ice time?
And
the cost of ice time, because once, obviously Macquarie had their renovations and improvements, and ice time's obviously a premium and it skyrocketed. So that's only ever going to go up in other rinks as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's totally true. Oh man, there's so many considerations to take into effect before you think about expansion, which is why I guess it took so long for us to get a Brisbane team back and the Central Coast back, right? Like, I mean, that actually probably took an external factor to force that to come to a head, but I'm really glad it did though, because I feel like the league is diminished without the Central Coast and Brisbane being involved.
Because it's good to have those solid teams.
Yeah, I look how many fans there are from Brisbane and the Central Coast, and to watch those organisations grow, and oh man, without them, I don't know. It'd feel weird to go back to 8 teams yet again. I know we went back last season, and it was strange because you did obviously have like the Sydney players get farmed out to some of the players get farmed out to different teams on loan, which people go, oh, you look how competitive those teams were last year, and that's true. But I also look at how competitive our league is this year with 10 teams, and that's also true.
Yeah,
that's true.
So yeah, I know. There's lots of options. Anyway, man, I've now missed all these comments. I'm gonna bring up my thing. I didn't find what I was looking for out of all of that. Let's go on to the preview, guys. Let's get into the final part of the show. So we've only got 8 games this weekend. We have an ESPN game of the week, which is the Saturday game between the Ice and Brave.
That's an excellent game to be ESPN.
Yeah, I feel like it is. I feel like it's almost a dress rehearsal for the finals for the guys ATC down in Melbourne. How do you guys feel that this game's going to
go? What I hope for, I think, rather than predicting what's going to happen, what I hope for is a real tit for tat game. I hope it's a goal for goal. I don't want OT. I hate OT. I'm pretty sure everyone hates OT, but yeah, I think goal for goal and like down to the wire. Maybe another like 0.06 second game-winning goal moment, like just something close, something fierce, something exciting. And I guess that that's different coming from someone that's not specifically cheering for either team, that just wants a good storyline.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I'd take that. I'd take exactly that, actually, especially the week before finals.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I think, I don't know. I just have this feeling that the Brave are going to be too strong. I think that the Ice are going to get suckered into being too physical, just like they were in the Saturday game against Canberra when they came down. And I think it's going to end up costing them.
Yeah.
They do have this tendency to get physical when things aren't going right for them, but they do also have this tendency to be behind in games and then come back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean that could be the way they have an upset is if the game's not going their way, and let's say Brave do what they've done the last few weeks and get a few points ahead. If Melbourne Ice do step up in the physicality and decide to just try and take some people out so they don't have them for finals, like that could be another way they can stir the pot. And we've seen it. Like, we don't want to see anyone get hurt. And I want finals to be the best of the best, because then you've beaten the best out there.
Best.
I guess that's what it comes down to for me. But it really needs to be a wild card.
Ice vs Brave is almost a wild card round.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. It's going to be a good game, and I think it's going to be a good televised game for everyone as well, which should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully get seen by a lot of people. But there's obviously not the only games this weekend. There are lots of things happening. Some of the notes I've got on here: 3-way challenge for the premiership. I actually loaded this up today. Wow, the graphic.
I love it. It looks so good.
I really enjoyed making this. It took a while, but I really enjoyed it. Yeah, pretty cool. As Court said earlier, 3 teams heading into the final round, all in the same amount of points. Yes, the Mustangs have played one more game and have one less game to play, but anyone could win.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. I wrote down all of these points down on here about the different clinching scenarios. There's a lot. I'm not going to go into this tonight. Unless you guys really want to. But there is a lot of different scenarios about who will win what. But the North Stars are in the box seat. What, you feeling confident?
Yeah, I said it at the top of the podcast, just it's not a slight against Rhinos and Bears, but I think Newcastle's really like locking in now. They're 6 points will make a huge difference to if they end up first or second. I feel confident they'll be in one of those positions. And it's just sort of a matter of how they execute it now. They've got to come out and play their pace, play their game, set the tempo, and if they can do that, then they will just sort of, I think, rattle the opposition and not let them get that control. But the flip side is Rhinos and Bears could do the same thing. They could come out, do something unexpected, and have North Stars on the back foot the way they were against Brave. And to fight back from that can be tricky, but I absolutely think Newcastle's locked in and ready for another championship.
When was your last one? 2016?
Yeah. See, there's a whole fairy tale storyline here. 10 years since the last one and going into our 25th year. So, for those of us in the media team, we would really like that storyline.
It's probably a whole group of North Stars fans who have never actually seen them win the title now.
Absolutely, there are.
That's crazy because they won 2 years in a row back then. Like they won 15 and 16, right?
Yeah.
I think if they can capitalize and get the early goals, they'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably something. If they fall behind, they might. I don't know. They might be psychologically struggling, but who knows? I mean, they've got so much firepower. I think you talked about it before, Claire. So they could probably come back in any situation. But should be good.
All of that, I feel the same about Ice Dogs versus Brisbane. I think Ice Dogs they're locking in. They've got the focus. They've proven that they can bounce back from just drama that's happening behind the scenes, that it's not going to get to them. And I think we're going to see a similar thing up in Brisbane. They're going to come out, if they can, again, it's exact same thing. If they can set the pace, set the tempo, get some early goals, push in really hard, really fast, and create their game and not Brisbane's game, they can get out on top.
You just don't want Brisbane to then get physical, which can happen as well.
But it's pretty crazy though. Like here it is, Brisbane. They're like 9th in the league, right? And they're like in one of the most important series in the final round of the game. Like everyone's going to be watching it.
Yep.
And they could have such a big impact on the season.
Absolutely.
100%.
And they have firepower, and they're back at home for the first time for ages. I know some people talking about just how small the rink is there. It's almost unfair of how many fans can't fit into that rink.
Yeah.
I've also heard it's like exceedingly cold in that rink.
It's so cold.
It's so cold.
It's
but yeah, it should be fun. I know that series is just I guess it's just wrapped in the most mystery to me. I just don't know what to expect and how to win, because the Ice Dogs really, changed themselves again. They went through their own little period of playing quite poorly to all of a sudden, they started playing well again 2 weeks ago, but still lost. But then last week really won big. And I just feel that, they're just locked in right now to win. And I just don't know if Brisbane have enough to disrupt them.
They've had some injuries, and then obviously the points debacle. But I feel like they've learned to work new systems with those injuries, right? I think they've learned with the team that they've got to run new systems and work on that chemistry. And you've seen it. Like the last couple of weeks, they've really been playing hard, and I think they're gonna take both. That's my pick.
Yeah. Okay.
I know they're not at home, but I feel like it's make or break for them, and I'll have them 2
now,
for home.
One player I know that Doogie's been talking about the last few weeks, who needs to really step up for the Ice Dogs. And it's probably a reason why they actually started, they won last week and started doing quite well, was Robert, I can't say his last name.
Lakowicz? I don't know.
Lakowicz? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say.
He started really putting on some points and really performing. And I think that goes down to what you're saying, Claire, finding new systems and new ways of playing and, getting those players really firing, because I know Vertes also has been firing as well. And he's really important to them. And Dunn has also been important. Basically, everyone has stepped up. Like even like Daniel Chen's having such a great season this year. I know that, and they're missing a lot of big players that they've had earlier in the season, whether that be Cal Costa, whether that be Jung An and
Toy.
Yeah, oh my God, he's been out for so long now.
Yeah. But it's allowing other players to step up, and they are stepping up.
Yeah, and Dmitry Kuleshov is also still absolutely smashing it in, and Ivan's playing really well since coming back too. So that's been really good as well for them. And as you said earlier, Thomas Moncrief as well. So some really good games. Claire, what games are you really looking forward to? What? I mean,
there are so many. Obviously, I will always be watching the Rhinos. Rhinos' last home game against North Stars will be a good one to watch. I'm really looking forward to seeing if the Brave can continue, not necessarily the streak, but just have that, have that forward momentum still, or to see if that gets upset. But even the North Stars Bears game on Sunday, I think will be a good one to watch. But also Brave Mustangs, man, I can't.
Brave Mustangs, yeah. What a blockbuster last game between those two. It could end up being a premiership deciding game, or it could be a who makes top two game. It could be any of those, or it could be none of them. It should be great.
I think what we decide to watch what we can't watch because we're watching others will be refreshing. Like a lot of people will be, I want to go back and watch that later, or are you checking this? Even at the North Stars game last weekend, people behind me every break. Oh my gosh, are you seeing the Thunder Bears score? Are you seeing this? Are you seeing that? It's across the league and it's so good.
Yeah. I am looking at the timings right now of the games. Saturday's games are fairly tight. Although there is a little bit of a spread. So obviously the Rhinos game starts first at 3:45. You've then got Brisbane at 4:45, the Ice Canberra game at 5 o'clock, and then the Thunder and Adrenaline on at 5:15 from South Australia. And then the following day, you've got a game at 2 o'clock. So that's the Brave Mustangs. You've got 3:45 in Brisbane between the Ice Dogs and the Lightning. 5 p.m. between the North Stars and Bears, and 5:15 between 4:45. I think that is. It's really 4:15 in South Australia. That's 4:45 right here, right?
Yeah. Yep, 30 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Should be fun. Thunder. I don't know what do you guys what do you think's going to happen with the Thunder and Adrenaline?
I would assume Thunder might be able to just sort of turn things around a bit, just because Adrenaline just hasn't been consistent, and we've said it numerous times. They just haven't had that chance to create chemistry and create that click. So for me, I think Thunder have a lot more of that. So I would expect Thunder to come out with some points this weekend.
That's fair. What do you think, Claire?
Yeah, I agree, especially if Ben's, again, able to focus on the game. They'll be obviously prepping for finals. Whether that be trying new systems against Adelaide, those kinds of things. It'll be interesting to see because I think obviously they've had some injuries too, and they put that publicly, which is also rare to see versus other teams this season putting out their injuries. But yeah, whether it be trying to get that last win or trying out those new systems under JFK, it'll be good to see.
Yeah. Excellent. All right, guys, let's go for some comments and then we can go for final thoughts. North Stars are the Australian Habs. Most wins, but it's been a long time. That's a spicy take, I suggest. I don't know if Newcastle fans want to be associated with that.
I don't know much about them, so I can't comment.
Yeah, that's okay. Craig saying that, Brisbane rank is cold. Even I get cold there. And Diggy comes up with a good point for the Ice Dogs. D'Agostino went something like 10 games without a point. Big contrast to the first half of the year. Dogs need him for the points on the blue line. Yes. I think that's also part of it, because the dynamics changed. Obviously, he was like really in sync with Shane Hanna when he was there, and they were just the two of them were scoring points for fun off the blue line. Obviously, he's probably had to change his role since Hanna left, and I guess they're really putting a lot more on the force to get the points. But interesting. I always find these things interesting, but yeah, I know it should be a good weekend. All right, Court, what's your final thoughts?
Look, as I say, week in and week out, thank you everyone for engaging in the comment section with us. We appreciate you jumping in, and look, as always, it is such a thrill to just acknowledge you, Sean. You do amazing work on the platform with your graphics, constantly evolving. You've gotten better and better with every graphic this year. And look, head over to the Oz Hockey Media, like, subscribe, follow, all of the things, hit all of the buttons, and just stay up to date with hockey, because we've got so much coming to you, especially in the next week or so. And we're doing it for the players, and we're doing it for you guys. So thank you everyone that is on this journey with us.
And you, Claire, what are your final thoughts?
I can't top that. But I will say also, let us know what kind of coverage you do want to see at finals, because we will be there overall as a team for finals. And yeah, let us know what you want to see, who you want to hear from, those kinds of things. Super stoked for the growth of Oz Hockey Media. And we're going nowhere with A-Dub season coming very soon after. There's lots of things going on with there. Check out Andrew McDougall's page, because he shares a really, really, really good insight for a lot of those kinds of things as well. But yeah, let us know. Thank you so much for showing up. Friday night, it's always fun. And then it will be, finals time next week. And then are we going to do a recap?
Yeah, we'll do a recap. Yeah. Friday? We'll do a preview and we'll do a recap.
Keep an eye out, because obviously we'll be doing this a few days earlier than Friday next week. We'll be a bit busy. Yeah. So we will let you know when that is. We haven't decided. We haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
We will work it out.
We will work it out, and it will be earlier in the week, just because, people have got to get to Melbourne. I do like this. Phil says there's not enough popcorn for the weekend. Look, I'm hot. If it's drama filled, that would be great. Although, please, not point deduction drama. That would be very sad. Steve says, thanks for the show all season, guys. Thanks, Steve, for watching all season. And someone did mention up here somewhere, Josh up here, and this might be a topic that we can just briefly talk about, because it's not AI related, but it is A-Dub related. The Sirens, what's happening with the Sydney Sirens at the moment? How do you guys feel about this? Like, it's pretty crazy what's occurred this week. Obviously, if people haven't been following this, we've seen whatever the Sen or whatever they're called, massive millionaire kind of organization, rebranding their Sydney netball team as the Sydney Sirens. Yeah, from the Giants to the Sydney Sirens. Obviously, there already is a Sydney Sirens. It's just in women's ice hockey. So how do you guys feel about this? Like, did it kind of blindside you? Did you expect it was coming?
Absolutely did not expect it was coming. I think, Sydney Sirens have been a long-standing, organization, and I feel like if that was what they were, like, what the netball team, what Sen was trying to do, there's a multitude of ways that it could have been done better. Conversations prior to, and yeah, as Doogie said, Dawn Watt is fighting hard, which is amazing, but it's fighting for something that, again, these closed door conversations could have been had prior. And I feel like some of the things that we're seeing on behalf of that from the netball side of things is lip service, but that's my thoughts.
That's fair. Emma does say that New South Wales Ice Hockey has asked us not to make too many comments for legal, and that's fine, but obviously we're not associated with any of this, so I think it's okay for us to make opinions and comments. Because it's I don't know, I feel like I feel like ice hockey does need to stand up for itself. It shouldn't just be rolled over, and I'm really afraid that it will. And Dookie made a really good point in his video today or yesterday, whenever he released it, about the fact that if you allow, the netball team to become the Sydney Sirens, suddenly whenever you're searching for Sydney Sirens on the internet or anything, that's all you're going to find, because they have a lot more money and they're going to be dominating those sort of Google clicks and everything. You're going to almost become impossible to find your hockey team.
Yeah, I think one of the most powerful points on that is they will get, if they turn around and get sydneysirens.com.au, our hockey sirens don't have it. They don't have their own independent website. It's attached, and not super, and it's not actually super easy to find. So, we are currently sort of at the whim of Ice Hockey New South Wales, who have released some statements. They've let us know that there are legal proceedings. They've got lawyers behind them to help. So it's just, there is a little bit of wait and see. We've got to trust the process a little. And I think the reason I feel comfortable saying that is in knowing Dawn, and she is the CEO of a national company. She's worked in this environment, and this is something that means a lot to her. She was part of the Sirens establishing, so it's not like she's just someone on the board that's been told to look after it. She's got a vested interest. So I think there's some trust we can have in that, in what matters, that it matters to her, and
she's the best person to be doing that, really.
Yeah. And Phil Taylor has commented there, one of the points, I think I saw it somewhere, that trademark law takes in consideration its usage. So the fact that our Sirens can show they've got 20 years of history of championships, of blood, sweat and tears, they've got a lot behind them to help this process. So, as best we can, we've just got to keep supporting our girls and being noisy and getting out to their games and sharing their content and engaging with their content. Every like, share, link copy, comment, all of that helps the algorithm with boosting it to more people. So,
And I don't think if anyone noticed that their posts about the Sydney Sirens things, the comments were just flooded with hockey people talking about the original Sirens.
I have to say, my favorite comments go to Todd. He's just dropping the schedule and on every post. I love that. I'm here for that.
It's not negative. It's just showing.
No,
it's just showing what's there.
It's just dropping the schedule and going, hey, look, we have a schedule already.
And as Doogie said, like, they have that money. They have the money to do the billboards. They have the money to do all of these things.
Yeah, I think it's a classic case of showing someone who is a big company with, obviously a media company as well, who has a lot of resources, and how they can go about things compared to an organization which is run by a state organization, a non-profit, that isn't professional, that's run on volunteers, and just the massive difference that you can do in a very small time. Sorry, Claire, I cut you off. I really apologize.
No, but that's exactly it, though. And women's sport in Australia as a whole is growing, and I get that, and netball is too. That's fine, but as I'm not going to do the whole "we were here first" kind of thing, but there is a way to go about it, right? Surely there's so many other names. Number one, number two, there could have been conversations privately, prior to an announcement. Now it's just messy. And they do have a lot more resources at hand. And you don't want to see, AIHL and Sirens drowned out because of this. You don't want to lose it. So be loud, be respectful, but be loud.
Because I did say one thing to, I think, Court yesterday about this, was like, I'm like, oh, well, one thing that could happen is that, if they really set on the name, they could buy out the ADub team and bring them within the organization and fund both teams, right? But I'm pretty sure ADub rules don't allow for private ownership. Correct. So it's kind of a non-starter.
Yeah, so that's it won't happen, unfortunately.
Because it's not unusual overseas to see a sporting club as opposed to like an organization, but a club who owns multiple teams in multiple disciplines under the same name, right? So whether that be soccer, basketball, you see it in Europe all the time. But it's not really possible for this situation.
Jump onto Six Dub Hockey though. Check out his take. The Guardian's also posted about it. I'm sure Andrew will post, the most up-to-date things, and he has great insight on those kinds of things. So, he's been in lots of different team roles and sees the backside of it, and would know a lot more in depth, than we do. So it's just
not working. It's not. I find it's a tricky one to spell, so it's just going to let me.
Oh yeah.
I think you put in the.
I wonder if this would work like this.
I don't know how to comment.
Six Dub Hockey. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Hey, there you go, guys. All right, guys. Let's call that a show. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Final weekend of AIHL regular season hockey action around the country, and let's look forward to finals after that. We'll be in touch with when our show goes out next week.
Yes.
All right, all. Take care.